Good evening, distinguished Wizards fans. I'm Sully, and
I'm Raj.
this is the Bulls Wizards podcast post-draft recap, and it was an insane draft. Going into it, it was hard to predict any of the first-round picks. It was obvious consensus. Sarr, we saw Shea were going 1-2. Beyond that, it was chaos who was getting picked where. A lot of it reminded me of the famous 2013 draft, all the chaos that went down. But yeah, this time there's a lot to be excited about as a Wizards fan. A little bit to be sad about as well with Deni being traded, but is Bub Carrington worth it? Is Kyshawn George promising at 26? And is Alex Sarr the second overall pick the answer? We're going to discuss it all in this episode. Before we get too deep into it, let's say hi to our good friend, the Wizards Cat. All right, good to see Wizards Cat as always. He's still in New York. Just enjoying the city life. He went there for the draft. If you look closely during the first round coverage on ESPN, Wizards Cat was in the stands watching, and he cheered heavy for Sarr. But yeah, speaking of Sarr, he's the prize pick from this draft, and just give us a little rundown of what is he like as a player?
So his ability to defend on the perimeter might be his best trait. He's agile at his height, 7 feet, and he moves well and can use his length to bother ball handlers. And his ability to defend inside is like more of an issue because he's just not as strong right now. But he can block shots here and there. And his player comparisons Nick Claxton, and that sounds realistic. Watching both of their just their highlights. And if I don't know his ability to lead a team though. I don't know if I want him to lead my team,
Yeah,
but we'll see.
yeah, and I agree. Like Nick Claxton comparisons for a second overall pick isn't the best, but yeah, I should remember. Like for almost a year, people have been saying this is a weaker draft class. This just is what it is. I like to think that he has a little bit more in his game than Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton doesn't have a handle. For his size, Sarr has a handle. Also, Sarr is streaky from three in the Aussie League and the NBL for Perth. He shot about right under 30% from three. And so he's in a high volume 3-point shooter, but I think he can develop that part of his game, which is something Nick Claxton doesn't have. Like Sarr is not just a rim rolling center. He can stretch it out a little bit, and I think the Wizards would be unwise if they forced him to be a rim rolling center. But yeah, definitely like he has the length and fundamentals. Like he can guard like stretch bigs, which is nice in the modern NBA. But yeah, it's just like muscle mass. Add a few pounds is what he needs. But that's kind of what Bilal was a few years ago. Bilal showed he has all the defensive instincts. He can guard all the guys. It's just he gets out muscled sometimes. I think it's the same thing with Sarr. Sarr has all the intangibles to be a good defender. It's just to guard guys like Embiid, people have to add muscle mass. But he's 19 and he has a lot of time to do that. But so I don't know. Is your confidence level really that low that he just can't? You don't think he can develop it to be a number one option?
No, not really. I don't know. It's just when you draft people like Anthony Edwards and Trey Young, Luka Doncic, you get this feeling that they're gonna be something. I I see Sar and I'm like, okay, he is gonna be something. He's just not. He doesn't give off that. At least to me, when I look at him, I'm like, nah. If I didn't watch basketball at all, I'd be like, no, this guy, he's probably just a role player. Maybe that's just all he is.
I
So
feel I have a saying. I feel like with any NBA player, if you choose the right clips, they look like an MVP. If you choose only their best clips. But I get what you mean. I mean, Sarah has a cool. I would say he has swagger to him, like more than Risa Shea. Risa Shea seems very quiet and shy, which there's nothing wrong with that. Kawhi has proven you can be a silent assassin in the NBA. But at the same, I don't know. I mean, Sarr has I think he has the star swagger. He just has to prove it on the court, and prove like the doubters wrong that oh, this draft class is so weak and all that. And I mean, look, Alex Sarr. I remember I thought this a year ago. I was like, Alex Sarr kind of sounds like Alex Starr because he's gonna be a star. Come on, man. I feel like you. I don't know. Like, are you really just throwing in the towel and you just think, oh, next year Cooper Flag, that's gonna be our number one guy?
well, no, I have hope for him. I like him. He. It's just let's say in 5 years you look back on the Wizards. I don't think Alex Sarr is going to be the main name that you
I think
think of.
I think that's fine. It's a rebuild. There's still 2, 3 years to. They're still going to be drafting more lottery guys. So whether it's a Cooper Flag or someone else, yeah, there's still time to add more stars. And honestly, Sarv won't be a bust if he's not the number one option. As long as he's like At minimum, a slightly above average starter to preferably like as long as if he gets to a fringe all-star level, I would say that's a more than successful draft pick in my opinion. Like, would you be happy? Is that like a good like just minimum expectation to have?
Fringe All Star, yeah, for sure.
I think that's good.
I have All Star expectations for like Bilal though. For
Really,
him, yeah.
I mean, last year's draft class was deeper, but oh, I mean, you have to remember like with Bilal, like he kind of was he was like Tijan Saloon in this draft where he just shot up randomly. So like honestly, I had no idea what to expect. Expect from Bilal after last draft because Bilal was the most raw prospect, like Giannis levels of raw, just pure just talent, but nothing really specific that he was good at. And at least with Sarr, he has specific qualities such as like, his length and just he does use his size a lot. But I mean, at least he's not like an Edie, Zach Edie type, which shocker that Edie was drafted ninth, but Edie has no skills besides being tall. At least Sarr can put the ball on the floor. And call me wrong, but I feel like in some ways he reminds me of like Kristaps Porzingis with a less consistent shot, especially younger Porzingis, like before Porzingis added mass and all that. Just like Sarr, if you look at his defensive highlights in the Aussie League, he did really well, just in large part because he is such a big and just pause long dude. So just that is where a lot of his defense. I mean, 7'4" wingspan, you can't teach that. So I don't know, like, what do you, where do you see? Do you think the offensive or defensive side is going to be a struggle for him first in the NBA?
Offense.
I'm going the opposite. I think, especially in the Wizards, unless Keith does something weird, the offense, and the Wizards like loosey goosey iso ball offense, I think Sarr will figure it out fine. He'll put up like 10 to 15 points per game immediately. I honestly believe that. It's just I think the defensive side, he's gonna struggle to like offensive rebounds against some of the better, even against like a Hartenstein, he might get boxed out a lot. That's just my take, but I'm I guess I'm a little bit higher on Sarr than you, but you gotta admit, it's who we wanted, right? For the second round pick, you didn't want any like Matsas Buzelis or like Donovan Clingan, right? Or is at least Sarr
Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah, yeah. We wanted Sar.
like Sarr definitely has a higher ceiling than can you at least say that than Nick Clingan?
Oh no, Klingon does not have a ceiling. He's kind of just like NBA ready. Just put him in. He's gonna start doing his thing.
Yeah, Clingan is the guy just plug and play, just put him in, he'll be a nice like 12 point per game, 8-9 rebound, solid, just everything solid, but he won't move the needle at any point. I could be wrong, and he could be dominant, but just I mean the defensive potential is really there with Clingan, but yeah, Klingan's offensive game is really weak, and honestly, I think this Wizards team just needs all five guys to be facilitators because you saw like as good as the Wizards, as fun as Gafford was to watch, I feel like his limited skill set on offense was part of the team struggles early in the season. Just and I feel like this team just plays better with a big that can stretch the floor, which is why they spam so many lineups of Tristan Vucevic and Patrick Baldwin, and hopefully Sarr could just be a better version of both those guys.
And with Sar, I would say, I mean, I don't know. I know I sound like, ooh, man, this guy sucks. He's not talking about the second draft pick, but I mean, I was at the draft party. Everyone was happy. I was happy. I mean, we're all cheering when we selected Sar,
So
and
watch our video for at the draft party. It's on our channel right now.
that too.
Yeah. But yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, like Twitter, everyone seemed happy. Like no one's like, "Oh, we should have drafted someone else." If like we drafted like a curveball like Buzelis at second, I think there'd be a lot more questions. But with Sarr, it's like this is who we were supposed to draft. We were expected to draft, so we're all good with this. And yeah, definitely just he's not a surefire bet as most second overall picks, but I'd be kidding if I wasn't excited. Like this team has had so few interesting just draft prospects the last few years that a top three draft pick, even in a weaker class like this, it excites me. Like I'm excited. But you know what I'm excited about? Bub Carrington at 14, which it's a little bit controversial to be excited. All right, let's get it out now. Get out all your off the emotions. What was your instant reaction to on draft night, 30 minutes, about like hour before the draft, getting the notification that Wizards acquired the 14th pick, which would become Bub Carrington. We'll talk about Bub Carrington, but first, just your instant reaction to the Avdia trade that led to us selecting Bub Carrington.
I don't like it, and I still don't like it, and I don't know if I will change my mind. I'll have to wait for the season to start, but I don't like it. I mean, the Wizards should have like traded Kuzma. I know they probably tried to, and like let Bilal and Deni lead the team in the coming season. I mean, Avi's 24 with like 3 years left on his really good contract, and I would say they would have given the Wizards like the best chance of adding a pick in a 2025 better draft with like Cooper Flag and all those like those two Rutgers guys. Forgot their names, but like I just said before, yeah, they probably tried trading Kuzma. But what worries me is that they failed and they got like maybe one pick in like in like this week draft. And I don't know.
Well, no, hold on. Wait. Okay, so looking at the overall Denny Hall, there was this year's the 14th pick, but no, but you have a future. It's really far out. It's like it's basically a kid in middle school right now, but it is you have the 2029 first round pick, which I mean, two first round picks for Denny, I still think is solid. Obviously, Denny still has potential for sure. I totally agree with you there, but two first round picks definitely is something to. I think it's worth discussing. Like I understand why they picked up the phone. It was definitely a hard decision for me to make if I was the GM, but I can at least, even if I don't fully, I don't know if I would make the same move either. I can definitely understand why they made the move, and I'm really excited for Carrington. If you listen to like some of our previous draft episodes, he's a guy I wanted. I originally wanted him with like the 26th pick, but his draft stock went up a lot the last few weeks, so he's rising the draft boards, and we need a point guard. We've needed a point guard since Westbrook left, so I think Carrington. And people are saying I've been seeing some people saying Carrington has like shades of like Paul and Halliburton. His be able to facilitate, but also still like score in the mid range and have a sneaky jumper and all that. So, and he's 18, so much time for him to get better. So I like Carrington a lot, and but yeah, the Avidja trade, I think we could debate it for days. I mean, it's funny how we got two first round picks for Avidja, but just struggling to get any picks for Kuzma right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, on the realistic side, okay, there should be no hatred with trading him at all. But on the other side of me, the feeling side, I'm like, damn, I watched this man grow. Well, at least some of them. Like I wasn't there when he got drafted, but at least I saw his little growth spurt in the league. But I mean, sure, okay, we suck. We needed to rebuild, and besides Kuzma, we don't really have like too much of a value for a trade. I mean, maybe it's too late for Tyus. I guess Corey can get a little first round, but I mean, Denny and Kuzma were like our two most valuable players, and like yeah, Denny is a decent player, but not someone you build around, right? Like he's not like a he's just
Like,
not someone you build around.
yeah, there's hope of that, but like if we're being honest, it's only like a 1 or 2% chance he becomes like a true number one option. So in that sense, it's like okay, maybe this is the highest Denny's career value will ever be after last season. So cash in on it while you can, because one, good contract, two, good stats on a really bad team. So essentially, like yeah, he's like okay, we gave him a chance to lead the team. The team still was bad, which of course not saying the team was awful in many ways, not Denny's fault, but yeah, like you can certainly, like I said, it's emotionally difficult as a fan finally seeing a player develop, but you can certainly see the reasons of why he was traded. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel? What do you think is going to happen to him in Portland? How do you think he's going to mesh there and develop with that roster? I mean, they got Simons, they got Dominating, they got Klingon, which I don't know what's going to
I
happen in
think
their center
I think
position.
I think the Denny Klingon connection will be good. Oh, there's something inside me, just like I feel like they'll work together well.
Mm. I think Port. I'm curious if Portland will use Denny way different because we kind of used Denny as we forced him to be a 3 and D player, and he just wasn't that. And it took him a while to learn to be a 3 and D player, but if they try to make him more of a point forward, which is what kind of I always kind of wanted them to do when they drafted him, but they just never did it. Like he's never going to be a point forward like Luca, but if he could be like just a very baby version of that, I wouldn't. Then yeah, I could definitely see him have potential of clinging. Like in his current state, if we're being honest, Denny and Gafford didn't have much chemistry on the court. Like I didn't see them. They never ran pick and rolls that often together. Like the people throwing Gafford lobs was not Denny. Like Denny was not doing that. But if Portland uses him differently, I definitely could see him forming an awesome pick and roll connection with Klingon, and if not, then worst case, he's just a solid 3 and D guy for random teams to the NBA rest of his NBA career. I honestly think he's going down the trajectory of like a Robert Covington type, or just a really solid guy that contenders want. Which I'm surprised that a contender didn't trade for him, like in an OKC or Sacramento. I know Sacramento wanted Kuzma, but like I can see Denny slotting into these like fringe playoff teams and giving them a defensive boost and all that. And But no, a bad another bad team got him. So I don't know if that's good or bad for Denny. Denny will get minutes in Portland, but yeah, emotional. But I've learning to cope with the trade, and I like Bubba a lot. So I mean, what are your instincts on Bubba?
I, I don't know Bub Carrington, but I watched highlights before that episode. I mean, he seems like someone with a pretty high ceiling compared to Sarr. Um,
Like some people are saying he honestly has one of the higher ceilings in the draft. I've been seeing people say that.
I could see him having a higher value than Sarr later, just like in the later years. I don't really have an explanation for it. I just feel it.
Yeah, I think it's just 18. Like I feel like first season, if he has some off moments, just remember he is 18. But I feel like in 2, 3 years, he'll really put it together and it'll be like, whoa. Same thing if like it took Denny a long time. Like if we're being real, I was pretty sour on Denny for like his first 3, 4 years of his career. His rookie year, he showed me nothing, and then little by little, every year, he added a little bit more to his game. But he was shooting like the 20% range for three for a long time until this year. He finally learned how to go turbo, but and I'm glad he did. But before that, yeah, it was a little bit frustrating. And I think we got to learn to be patient. We can't. Obviously, they play like Johnny Davis immediately. That's a different story. Then we could hate on them because Johnny never showed any potential in any game he's ever played. But if there's like a few off moments for either Sarr or Carrington, just remember they're 18 and 19. They're really raw, and but yeah, I don't know. I'm really high. Like I wouldn't say I'm a huge ACC basketball guy, but I watched some. I watched a few pit games just for fun on TV the past year, and I'm like, I like this Bub Carrington guy. I want him in the late first round, and we got him. So, and I mean, ACC basketball is a pretty high level competition because you got UVA, Duke, so it's a tough conference to play in. So, and he's a Baltimore guy. Apparently, a lot of Baltimore fans are Wizards fans again. Like I've been looking at the comments, people are like Baltimore represent, which I didn't know Baltimore was that passionate. I don't know. Maybe move the Wizards to Baltimore. Just kidding, but the Baltimore fan base is here for Carrington.
In terms of other guys in the draft range, there's like Connect and McCain, Topich, all of them. And I know Connect, he's a pretty good shooter, averaged 21 points per game, and I could see him. I mean, the Lakers they hit on him. He's exactly what they needed. Um, if you watch the vlog, you would know that I was also pretty high on getting McCain as well. Like I would not stop talking about him. And I mean, there was Tovich, but he's just injured. I mean, he was, but you know,
Topic was going to be a top 5 pick till the injury. Until honestly, I was getting kind of excited. He's going to drop to 14, but I'm sure he'll have fun in OKC. He's going to fit really well in OKC, which is annoying. What else is annoying is McCann, who's always annoyed me because of what he did in college, but also he's a good player, but kind of a silly guy. He within like a few like 12 hours of being drafted, he's already posting TikToks in a Sixers jersey, doing his little dances. Have you
oh, I
seen
haven't
that?
seen any of those.
He's already spamming posts in his Sixers jersey, doing dances. Also, in an interview, he was talking about other Duke players, and he's like, "Oh yeah, in terms of former Dukes, I love Jason Tatum, my other fellow light skin." And it's like, "Oh my God, you are exactly who I thought you were." Which I don't mind the swagger. We have a lot of that with Poole and Kuzma. We have a lot of that energy on the team already. But I mean, McCain's a high ceiling guy, but honestly, I kind of like Bub Carrington more than McCain. Just from a raw skill set standpoint, I just feel like Carrington's ceiling. McCain, in a weird way, is also like I feel like a very NBA ready now guy, which a lot of Duke players are like that. But honestly, I don't even fully see McCain being a star. But I can definitely see him being a nice little like matching what Grayson Allen and all these other Duke guys that aren't all stars do, just being an annoying guard that's a little pest on offense and defense. But uh, I'm happy with Bub Carrington of all the options in that range. I mean, I don't know are you upset that they didn't pick any of the other guys, or are you cool with Bub?
I'm cool with Bub. After learning more about him, I mean, like I said, I did not really know any of the guys in this draft except like Risa Shea, Topic, Sar, a little bit of Buzelis, Ron Holland. That's pretty much it. I never really looked into any of the picks past 10. But looking at Bub now, I mean, he
We,
seems like a
we
pretty cool guy.
He seems more exciting than Tyus was at point guard at the very least.
Sure, yeah.
More exciting. I'm not saying better immediately, but more exciting than like the Ty slowed everything down. Like Bub, I think is more exciting at the point guard spot, and I think he's gonna be the backup to Poole initially, but yeah, just because Poole has been in the league for a while, so he gets that seniority.
Yes.
You were I don't know. We had a conversation about this. You were really high on like a Poole comeback next year, and I don't know why.
All right, fine. I don't know. He will come back, but
Like,
it's okay.
do you truly believe Poole is gonna like return to his Golden State Finals days?
Yes, I
Like you,
do.
like okay, on the ride back from like the watch party the other day, like you had like a full on conversation, just like how like you think Poole is gonna like resurrect his career next year and like be a leader somehow, which
He started showing flashes of Golden State Pool near the end of the season, and I didn't get enough. There wasn't enough time for him to show the rest of it because the season ended. So I'm giving him another chance. Look, I'm just
I
a
want
nice guy.
I want to. Okay, nice guys finish last.
Yeah,
GM, you gotta be. If you're a true GM, you gotta be ruthless. I mean, I definitely want to see Poole succeed, and he's not going anywhere because of that contract. But I have realistic expectations that Poole is just he's just gonna be around for better or worse. And I just can't shake off the first half of last season, and it is what it is. He's gonna get a chance to start again next year, and if he better hope he doesn't blow it because if he does it, if he starts a really poorly game the first 20 games, he will be benched for either Carrington or whoever the hell is in the point guard mix. Like so, but all right, yeah, and then so that's a little recap of Bub Carrington, and then moving on to the 26th pick, which originally came from the Daniel Gafford trade with the Mavericks, and then we then moved the 26th pick and the 51st pick with the Knicks for the 24th pick. And in the 24th pick, we got Kyshawn George from Miami, and he played nice for Miami during the NCAA tournament. Um, another 20, he's 20, so another really young guy, raw skill set. But in a weird way, he honestly replaces everything about Deni besides the experience. I mean, 6'8", very similar size to Deni, a lot of, in theory, defensive potential. Once again, this is a common thing for a lot of college guys. They're in the 20s, first, like in the late first round. Everyone's jump shot is streaky. It is what it is, but he definitely has the potential to work on his jumper in the NBA with a proper shooting coach. Yeah, I'm high on Keyshawn George too. Secretly, kind of wanted Flipkowski a lot because I thought Sarr at the 4, Flipkowski at the 5 would be a really interesting lineup to watch. But yeah, I mean, you high on Keyshawn George?
sure, but
God,
I still think it would have been a good opportunity to gamble on someone at the 51st pick. I mean, was it worth trading up for Keyshawn George? Like, come on.
he, I think it's actually a really good deal moving up at the first round for only getting up because the 51st pick is a really late second round pick. And I mean, looking at our track record,
Could have
Vucevic is
got
somewhat.
Bronny.
I no, I don't want him. But let's look at our second round pick history. Obviously, like second round picks are important because guys like Jokic have been drafted in the second round. But we have never drafted a Jokic in the second round. Our second round picks are notoriously bad. I knew the new front office drafted Tristan Vucevic, which is, like I said, more promising than previous second round picks. But previously, before that, it was a bunch of Yusuf Sanins and Yannick and Sosas and Cassius Winstons and Admiral Schofields, just to name a few of our recent second round Zaytods. So in that sense, like I don't know, second round picks are such a hit or miss. Like it's either like an LA Fitness basketball court level player or it's a useful rotation player. But if you're really sure about a guy like Keyshawn, I don't mind it. And we honestly have too many second round picks coming up in the future, so unloading them, I have no problem with that. Like we have 5,000 second round picks in the next 2 years, so I don't. But I'm high on Keyshawn, and there's a chance. I think he'll get instant minutes. I don't think he's gonna be like. I know some late first round picks just rot on the bench and they don't do anything, but I think at least he'll get some run to prove himself and be like immediately. He's not gonna be like a. That's what I'm happy about this draft class. I don't think any of these guys are going to be like stuck in the G League like a Johnny did, or just all these other. I think they'll be just immediately NBA roster guys at the very least. They won't be like starters immediately, but they'll give solid NBA minutes. Like I don't know. Do you agree or disagree with my take on that?
Well, they obviously won't send them to the G League. I mean, the whole point of just like trading Denny and doing all this nonsense was to let these guys play and develop. So if they don't, then I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
At that
and
point, I'm just not being a fan anymore.
we're just not a good enough team to to, like just draft players. Just to, like obviously like a team like the Celtics, their first round pick is probably going to be stuck in the G League for a bit. I forget who did they draft.
No idea.
We're not a Celtics podcast, so it doesn't matter. But yes, but they're going to get immediate playing time. And honestly, I feel like the rest of NBA respects like people are saying the Wizards are like one of the biggest winners from this draft in terms of just because look, looking at what the front office did this year, they're like, okay, look, they've been trying to work Denny and Gafford for years, but it's like that only worked so well, which wasn't that well. So it's like at this point, just get a little some fresh blood in, and yeah, like everyone, nobody's hating on our draft picks. Like honestly, I feel like our draft crop this year is rated it better than last year, the Bilal draft, because people were kind of some people were kind of questioning Bilal a little bit because it's like, was he just drafted because he's Wemby's friend? And Bilal turned out to be better than we thought, but still, I think the overall consensus is that the front office made some good moves, and this is also a very OKC type draft. Because if you look at how OKC built their roster, they just got rid of every veteran, just drafted as many high upside guys as they could, and whether or not it's a good thing being the OKC Wizards, I don't know. I mean, Troy Weaver is here, and Troy Weaver is a former, before Detroit, he was a former OKC guy, just like Winger and Dawkins. So the nepotism is a little bit weird, but I don't know. This is weird. Usually I'm more rough on the young guys than Raj. Raj likes the young guys, and then I kind of complain about the young guys. But in this case, I'm honestly really high on the draft picks, and I'm just more excited than previous years to see them play. Just because usually I'm just, oh, we drafted Corey Kispert. Okay, wow, I can't wait to see this
This,
Gonzaga,
this,
because this random
yeah, yeah,
Gonzaga
yeah,
guy play 15, 20 minutes off the like. I thought that was kind of my thought when we drafted him. Like, okay, this guy's gonna play 15, 20 minutes off the bench and shoot some threes. Like, but this is like Sarr is like, oh my god, he's gonna get the control to do whatever he wants, and theoretically could be a lot. So it's just I don't know. I'm more excited about this year's draft class than honestly. I can't remember like a draft class where I was this excited previously. Like I said, I don't know, I'm not dogging on Corey. I liked him. I still like him, but I wasn't jumping over the moon when we drafted him. Even when we drafted Denny, my younger me wanted Halliburton, and I don't know. Maybe now we traded Denny for the future, the next Tyrese Halliburton and Bub Carrington. Who knows? Maybe we fixed the problem with that draft pick. But yeah, and then even before that, like Troy Brown, um, Kelly Oubre, sure. But just I'm just looking at this random draft picks we had in the past. I'm excited. Like, can you at least admit, even if you're uncertain, are you at least excited?
yeah. I can't say no, so I'm gonna say yes.
You're allowed to say no. You can
I'll
play
say
devil.
yes.
You can play devil's advocate if you want.
I'll say yes.
Devil's avocado, some may say.
I can't just be like. I mean, there's nothing to be sad about here.
Okay,
It's a fresh slate, almost somewhat fresh slate.
and you could at least admit, as much as we grew attached to some players like a Deni Avdia, it makes sense to like just want a fresh slate. Like there is logic behind it. Just after a 15 win season,
Yeah, no, nothing bad happened. It's just, dang, who are these guys?
there's
Honestly,
nothing.
they need to prove themselves to me. I think that's what I need to. It's just I need to see what they can do because I don't like. I mean, Sully somewhat knows who these guys are. I don't know anything about Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington. I already forgot George. I don't remember his first. Kyshawn George.
Keyshawn, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know any of these guys. It's just like we just brought in these random 18, 19 year olds and they're just about to play. I'm like, okay. I think I just need to see them play. Like I'm ready for the summer league when versus the Hawks. I think the schedule release as well. So I'm looking
Oh,
forward to that. Like obviously they're not going to be up to like their full potential. They still need to like work on chemistry together and stuff. But I just want to like I need to see them on a basketball court. Like I
yeah,
don't know what they do.
that's a totally fair
I'm in
assessment.
the lost here.
Like we're at this point we're like looking at draft picks. They're like literally our age, and it's just like yeah, trusting them. Yeah, you got to skate to believe it. I totally get that. Yeah, summer league's gonna be fun this year too. Just all these, yeah, just seeing if Sarr could immediately mesh with Bub Carrington and all that. And yeah, summer league's exciting. I don't know why the NBA, why don't you invite us to Vegas? You know, we'd be a great summer league analyst for the Wizards, but maybe that's a future thing we'll do. But yeah, even just the summer league is one of the more exciting summer leagues in recent years for me. Do you feel like this year's draft class, like, what do you think's gonna happen in free agency now? Like, I think it definitely 100% Tyus is gone. There was no way he returns now after drafting Bub. Like, we can agree on that, right?
Yeah, no, Tice is gone. I was thinking about it. I was thinking of keeping what's his face? The guy we got for Denny.
Brogdon.
I feel like he
I'm
could be a mentor to like these guys, you know?
I don't I
Because
know
if we're
Brogdon.
trading Tyus, obviously Poole cannot mentor. I
I'll
think
sign it.
Brogdon,
Yeah,
then
sign and trade with Tyus. Yeah, hopefully we'll get something. Hopefully still for Tyus. Hopefully, if you
like
watch it,
sometimes I just think about how if keeping Chris Paul would have like affected our young guys. And I know Malcolm Brogdon is not Chris Paul, but he's still like better than Jordan Poole when it comes to
but Brogdon's mature.
yeah,
He's a mature guy. Yeah, yeah. I wonder that too sometimes. Like Chris Paul, because like Shea always gives Chris Paul credit for like teaching him when he was young. Um, so I was like, I don't know, maybe would Chris Paul have been nice to have around for Bilal and the guys, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Chris Paul is a the Chris Paul week was a weird week last year, but I'm not opposed to keeping Brogdon for like half a season. I would definitely want to trade him by next trade deadline, just flip him for more picks, and that sounds exciting. I mean, honestly, yeah, I'd rather keep him for half a season than just like immediately buy him out. Like at this point, having dead money toward Brogdon in a buyout, like that does not sound fun to me. Like assets, assets, assets. That's what I want right now. And just if you just end up getting nothing, it's just I don't know, a little bit sad. And yeah, like I don't know, Brogdon has had a lot of injury concerns recently, but he was almost an all-star a few years ago, averaged low 20s, and he was awesome in Indiana before getting hurt, which is him and Oladipo have had a interesting looking back at their careers, like both were awesome guards. Indiana both got hurt, but yeah, like I don't, yeah, I'm definitely not opposed to Brogdon staying on the team, but I have no idea what the lineup would look like if Brogdon stayed on this team, because then it's like, okay, is your backcourt Bull, Poole, and Brogdon? Because that is Brogdon is not a defense guy either, because Brogdon is too small. So honestly, I feel like that lineup is unplayable. I mean, I don't know. Does Brogdon want to be a six man? I don't know. Do you force Poole to be Brogdon's backup? I don't know. I think if Brogdon could be a six man, that'd be really interesting. But like in the backcourt, I'd rather have like Poole and Bilal than Poole and Brogdon, just because the defense. So just we don't get run off the court with like you see where I'm going with this, right?
yeah. No, I don't know what I want his role to be like on the court, but I just want him to be there when like little Bub Carrington has a little question. He raises his hand, right? I need what's his name again? The guy
Kyshawn,
we got. No,
Sarr,
no,
Bub Carrington. Yeah, you know his
no,
name.
no, no.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Brogdon, Malcolm Brogdon.
Uh,
I need Malcolm Brogdon to be there instead of
yeah,
Jordan Poole to answer his questions.
I totally get you. Yeah, because it's like I can imagine practice. Bub Carrington's like, how do I do this NBA point guard stuff? All these plays. So Poole's gonna be like,
Just shoot the ball, buddy.
and I mean, you remember those clips of like Poole not knowing the plays last year.
Yeah, yeah, all that.
Yeah, so definitely, I think Brogdon would be a nice. I mean, we have Gill for that too, but
Yeah, but Gill is
Brogdon's
not
an,
like he's not.
Gill,
Yeah,
Gill doesn't play actual NBA minutes. Brogdon's actually played like important minutes in the NBA. So yeah, and it's a nice throw in Brogdon. He's not a useless guy to get in a trade. Like obviously the trade was more about getting first round picks for Deni. That was the real point of the trade, and just hoping that the Blazers are still bad on 2029 was also kind of the point. But yeah, Brogdon. Best case scenario, he can also rebuild his value here in DC, and we get another first round pick for Brogdon. I'm kind of kidding myself there, but I can also see that happening for sure. Kind of in a weird way, like how Kristaps rebuilt his value coming here after a bunch of injuries. Maybe Brogdon could do the same. But yeah, definitely, we don't need to sign a guard anymore. Those like 1% rumors that existed about Wall will sign a minimum to return to DC. Like I don't that was never gonna happen, and now it's really not gonna happen because we got guards now. But at this point, I don't know. What do you think we need in free agency? Like I don't know, like maybe a backup big, but the free agent class is kind of weak for bigs
I
this
don't
year.
know.
Like Hartenstein's gonna get people are saying he's gonna get 80 to 100 mil this year, which is kind of
That's
crazy for.
insane.
But that just proves how weak. I mean, Claxton just got 100 mil, and I thought we might go after Claxton per chance,
There's
but
still
that's
Mitchell Robinson.
which I'm honestly still down for in a trade. I mean, I know we still have Bagley, but I think it's worth experimenting with Sarr at the four, just because of what people have been saying about maybe his ability to defend NBA size centers might not be there. But I think another center would definitely be useful, whether they start or they're a backup to Sarr. Like I think definitely another big man is needed, just because last year it was traumatizing watching this team be unable watching Muscala. Vucevic, Baldwin, all these tall guys just be unable to get rebounds was painful. And I do not like you can be bad, but at the very least, like don't get out rebounded by 20 rebounds every game. And then beyond that, just more wing depth. As an NBA team, you can never have enough wings. I do not think we don't need more guards. Like we have enough guards on this team between, ever since Corey and Bilal can play guard too, technically. So, but I definitely think we should definitely focus on adding, even as a rebuilding team, adding some veterans would definitely still be good, even with all these youngsters. One, to be mentors, and then two, just trade them, sign guys to trade them for more picks. This is a weird comparison, but follow the Washington Nationals model of just like the Nationals, they signed Jesse Winker, Joey Gallo, Eddie Rosario. These are guys that are old, they don't fit the plan, but Winker has rebuilt his career in DC this year, and hopefully he'll get traded for some young prospects. And yeah, just sign guys to trade after half a season. That's the idea. Hopefully Brogdon can do that. But yeah, rotations will definitely be interesting. Like as I mentioned, just looking right now, even before we sign guys, like how Keith divides minutes will be very interesting. Just because because Corey can play small forward, he can play shooting guard. Ball can also do that, and then Brogdon Poole can move to the 1 or 2 guard. Like everyone is just so flexible with what position they can play. Like if you look at like the other depth guys, like Baldwin can move to give theoretically play center. That's a horrible idea. And then I mean, oh my god, I forgot Rashawn Holmes is still on this team.
This roster is so interesting now. I don't like. Okay, Poole, Kuz, Kispert, Bilal, Sarr, Bub, Kyshawn, Rashawn, Marvin, Jared Butler. I forgot about Jared Butler and Eugene. There's Landry Shamet, Malcolm Brogdon, Vucevic, Johnny Davis, PBJ, and then Jules Bernard and Champagne on two ways. Like, I don't know. I still need. They need to do anything in their power to get Kuz off this team.
Yeah, I
Still,
get like as much as we're honestly more pro Kuzma than other podcasts. Like it's time to move off Kuzma. Like he doesn't match the timeline. He has value. I know we went 2 first round picks for him, but honestly at this point, I would take one for him. Just I feel like it's just time to move on. Just I want the young guys to have as much minutes as possible. Like I just don't see the point of him taking minutes from like a Kyshawn George. There's really no point in my opinion. And Kuz is also in the same way Denny's kind of proven that like at least as of right now, as even some people think he still could be a 1 or 2 option, I just don't see that. I think he could be an awesome like 4 or 5 option in the starting lineup. But the same thing with Kuz. I don't think Kuz is a 1-2 either. I think Kuz is an awesome like top 3 or 4 guy on your team, but not a number one. So just I'm ready to move off him too. But it's just I don't know who's calling. I don't think Sacramento wants him anymore. I don't know if we're getting anybody who wants him this off season. Like
yeah, there's nothing like there's nobody out there that's really like catching my eye on who we
heard
really need.
I've heard Dallas is still potentially
Like Tim
interested.
Hardaway's now gone. He went to the Pistons, right?
This
But
yeah.
it was an
I
option, I guess. But now he's off the
yeah.
board.
Hardaway getting moved is kind of tragic. So I was hoping we'd use it to trade him for Shamit. Because I don't know. I feel like just I'd rather have Hardaway than Sham. I know Hardaway got a lot of flack this year, and Hardaway is in like Poole in a sense where he takes really dumb shots sometimes. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm surprised that there's a lot of Shamit trade rumors right now. That feels like every contender wants him, which is Shamit makes a lot of money. I don't know why they want that, but yeah, Shamit's definitely like Kuzma is like I want him off the roster, but I'm not sure if anybody wants him. But Shamit, I really, really want him off the roster. It's not because of him as a guy. I think he's a fine guy, a great teammate, but just does nothing on defense. He's a veteran that makes too much. Just give me a second round pick and I'll be happy. But like,
Yeah.
like what, I don't know, what are you even seeing in the Shamit trade market?
Like you said, there are some contending teams that are looking um to trade for him. Hold on, I had it on my phone. It is the Clippers, Lakers, Mavericks, Jazz, Raptors, and Magic. And recently, they pushed his $11 million guarantee deadline to July 13th to give us more time to actually see what we can do with him.
That literally happened like 5 hours ago. Yeah, so they basically he's getting traded. They moved his contract like the days basically they moved when his paycheck is guaranteed to like a few more weeks. So Shamit's gone. I think on both sides are ready to move on. But second. I don't, if we get more than the second round pick, I'll tip my cap to Winger and Dawkins because that'd be amazing. But second round pick and some other bad salary contract, sure. But
They cooked. Wenger and Dawkins cooked. They definitely they proved themselves. I mean, we got a haul for Denny. I mean, I would say the Trailblazers definitely overpaid. I mean, we got a good amount of things. I mean,
yeah,
Malcolm brought in a 14th overall and then 29 first round and 2 second rounds. I mean, just for Denny.
yeah, and like the people that say that Denny is worth more than that, I think I forget what other NBA teams, the talent that exists in the NBA besides Deni Avidja. Like I said, Denny evolved so much, and I'm proud of the progress he made, and I liked him. I really liked him last year. But yeah, in the grand scheme of the whole NBA landscape, like this is the most you probably will ever get for Denny, and that's
Yeah,
just the
no,
that's,
they definitely forced something out of the Trailblazers there. So
yeah,
yeah,
and
hats
like
off to Winters and Dawkins.
yeah, like some people are saying the Blazers fleeced us. I don't think it's. I think it's worth it for the Blazers too to give it a shot as
I
well.
would say they won the draft, to be honest. I mean, they got Klingon, they got Denny. Like I know Denny wasn't drafted, but like the whole like little off season before the draft. I think the Blazers definitely did a really good job for what they're trying
Yeah,
to build over there.
yeah, I think Blazers are still really early in their rebuild too, because they got to figure out what to do with Aiden now, and also
Yeah,
Scoot Henderson was kind of disappointing last year. So, and Anthony, I don't think Anthony is like an actual playoff good. Like he's a good guard, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he's this similar to Denny. Simons played well the last 2 years just because the Blazers are bad and they have no one else. So they're definitely rebuilding just like us. But yeah, they made good. I think. Hear me out. I think it's a win-win trade for both sides.
yeah. There
If
isn't
the,
really like a some team fleeced the other team. I think it's just pretty even for what we got and what they got as well,
yeah,
and what
like
our goals
previous,
are for the future.
yeah, like previous trades, I think just being a recent, I think like getting Bagley from Pascal Gallinari, I think that was a fleece. Just with how
Oh
god
yeah,
off,
no, we
with
got
how, which is funny. Now that I think, I just realized the Wizards traded the Pistons. They like, hey, they called up Troy Weaver, the GM of the Pistons at the time, and they're like, hey Troy, hey, how would you take Muscala and Gallinari for your Bagley guy that you don't play anymore, but he used to be good, and I'm like, yeah, and it's like, do you not realize Troy Weaver how bad and old Muscala and Gallinari are? Like, I still don't know why Troy Weaver's in our front office, but special advisor. I don't know. I'd rather have John Wall be a special advisor than Troy Weaver.
bring him back. I mean, he said he wants to be back somewhere, right? I mean, come
Monumental, come on, Monumental Sports, forgive him already. I don't know why they're taking so long to forgive John Wall, but that's a story for another day. I'm glad Monumental. I will always have issues with Monumental Sports Network, but at least I can tell Teleonis is like he's not forcing the team to do what he wants anymore. Because if you look at the past, like the Bradley Beal extension, that was all Ted Leonsis. He forced Tommy Shepard to get him that extension. But at least now I can tell, like, Leonsis is like, okay, I'll leave you guys alone. Do the trades you want. You can trade Denny. I won't stop you. I'll let you be. And I appreciate at least Ted Leonsis is giving them space to breathe, which is nice. Um, like I said, still a lot of things to fix in Monumental Sports, but at the very least, I think Winger and Dawkins are being allowed to do what they want to do. So I think that's. I'm definitely like at least 10% more hopeful for our future than like last week. I think that's fair. Like
yeah,
I,
10% is a good amount.
I believe a little bit more. I see there's more of a direction than there was a week ago. The direction is now young guys with raw talent, kind of like OKC 5 years ago. So there is a direction, and we just got these guys just have to actually play. I think you said it really well early in the episode. I just need to see them play. Just we won't know if it's a good offseason because our offseason is based on young guys. We won't know it's a good offseason until the NBA season starts. But I mean, I'm kind of excited to go
It's
to a
just like it's just we're on there. We're like on the edge of our seats right now. Just we don't know what to expect. That's what's exciting about it.
yeah. I'm kind of excited to go to a game next year. I'm gonna be real. Last season, I was like, we still went to games, but I like,
I mean, last season I just wanted to see Jordan Poole play in person, but now I have 3 players, maybe 4 players in the future to look forward to, and I don't know, just seeing them in person.
yeah, there's just things to like observe and I don't know. It's like yeah, last year was just like God, I'm really watching Gallinari play center. Like, why am I paying why am I paying real money to watch this game? Like, I'm gonna be like, I went to the game just 'cause I love watching basketball in person, but I was like, man, this is not a good team. And
Uh,
next year the team, don't get me wrong, the team will probably still at most be like in the a 20 win range team. But I think there'll be a lot more signs of light next season than last season, and I think that means a lot. And just any signs of hope are good. Like I'm fully content with us still sucking next year, but I think we'll suck with a little bit of swagger, and I think I think that's better than nothing. So
Honestly, it's just right now. Also, we also need to put our hope in Brian Keefe. Like, okay, we
yeah,
got these guys. We just got to develop them, man.
that's true. Because
And
if
we haven't had a good pass at developing the young guys, and when we do, it's rare. So we're giving Brian Keefe the time he needs till the start of the season, and if he, I don't know, I'll let him do what he does.
but that's true.
Really,
Because if Keefe is like Wes with how bad his player development is, then
then there's all this is for
the,
nothing.
all these guys' developments is going to be stunted, and yeah. So Keefe plays a bigger part in this than we realize, but I'm willing to believe at the very least
I know
he can
he'll
talk.
care though. He'll care about the guys. Like if you think about like, let's say like the Bucks, the guy that went to the Bucks, Doc
Doc
Rivers is
Rivers.
not going to pay attention to like this new guy. I would say. So if you look at it that way, Brian Keefe is definitely going to pay attention to what he has to do with Alex Sarr, Bub, and
Yeah,
Kyshawn.
I think Keefe knows. Keefe is very aware that he's developing young guys. I think at West he was kind of like, okay, do I focus on Beal? Do I focus
Yeah,
on
no, he
like,
was all over the place, but now, I mean, Keefe has a solid goal in mind. He just has to do it
because
right. I mean, he
yeah,
has a
because
whole season, maybe two whole other season as well. He has the summer to get something going on. So we'll see.
I do think obviously with like the draft picks, I think it's going to take a few months to know what they're really like in the NBA. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think with Keefe, we're going to know within a month or two if he's a good coach or not. With the coach, you can tell a lot sooner than players if they're a good coach or not.
yeah. No, it took us time to figure out what, like, what we think about Brian Keefe when he was when he was the interim head coach. Like he first got in, like when he first got like his or when he first coached the game, his first game, we're like, ooh, there was like a little difference with how they played. But I mean, yeah, it took us like a month or two to figure out what kind of a coach he is, and it worked somewhat, a little bit. Like we didn't win, but there was a little more spark.
I will
And
say, I remember the first month of Wes Unseld in DC. People thought he was a good coach.
yeah, the defensive god or whatever people were calling him.
People thought he was a defensive god. That was not true. We were all wrong. We were all wrong.
Yeah, I was looking back at tweets for when he got hired. I was just curious what people had to say. People were so excited. They're like, "Oh my god, this is a really good coach or
No,
whatever."
because when we hired Wes, he was one of the top assistant coaches at the time, so it was actually exciting.
And then
But
Unseld and his last name, but then
that's not what happened. And Keefe is different. Keefe is much more of an unknown in the NBA. I mean, he's been around for 20 years as an assistant, so he's paid his dues. He's been around, but he's not like a top. He was never a top assistant for NBA jobs. So the expectations are lower in that sense. But at least I know he's a top. I know he's going to care about every guy on the roster because that's just he's as an assistant coach, he learned to do that pretty well, just caring about the 14th or 15th man in the roster. And then also, I know he can talk. I know he can motivate them. It's just can he game plan? Can he do good rotations? That kind of stuff. We will figure out next season once he has a full off season to make the Wizards play like how he wants them to play.
yeah, yeah, that was well said.
Yeah, but I'm just happy this team has a direction. It's been like 3 years since I understood what this team is direction they're going in. And at least it's not. I mean, we're still gonna suck next year, but if I understand the direction, it'll hurt a little bit less. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I don't know. I guess like a relationship ending, and it's like I don't. And it's like, but it's like it hurts. It hurts less when like you see it coming versus when it comes out of nowhere and you're blindsided and you think everything's fine, and then I think it's like you don't know what direction things are going because when things get bad all of a sudden. But when it's a slow burn, or just you see a direction that you're both going to get out of it and move on to better things, then it's a lot easier. And that's where this team's going. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a way of putting it. And
what's
then
a do you have a better
no,
analogy?
I can't think of one on the spot. I'm sure I could think of something better though. But something random. This has nothing to do with like this analogy, but I was just thinking about it, like what you said a while ago. You were like, "Oh, it's how OKC was built." I don't know. I was just thinking in the background, like, um, the way I see Dawkins and Wenger building this team right now, they're starting more defensive. Like we got Bilal, then they got Sarr. Like I think they're focusing on our weaknesses first. Definitely the defense, our defense and like rebounding.
Eh,
They're like, okay, get these down, and then, I mean, defense wins you championships. People say that. So
that's that's what every boomer says, but no, I agree. I agree. Yeah,
like,
like
yeah,
every
like
finals winner.
offense can always come later. There's a lot of guys who can shoot, but like defense is like almost a rare thing
It's hard.
nowadays.
It's harder to find a good defender in the modern NBA than you can find so many guys that can score, but finding a defender is more rare. And if you look at like the past champions this year, Celtics, amazing defense. Before that, Nuggets, amazing defense, and yeah, like even like before that, like the Warriors, Bucks, Lakers. Oh, well, actually, the bubble is weird. The bubble doesn't count. I don't know. Even that Lakers team had decent defense. Like Kuzma kind of stepped up. KCP was a great defender on that team. But yeah, like all the past like if champions played. There's never a champion where it's just like, oh yeah, they just played offense. That's not how. Isn't that how you win championships? And yeah, like even like teams like the Timberwolves were like had like a legendarily good defensive like statistics this year, and that's how they made a conference finals run. So and yeah, that's why Dallas faltered in the finals. Honestly, Dallas's defense, as high powered offense as Dallas has, their defense is just couldn't keep up with the Celtics, and that's really their downfall. And yeah, building a defense is really smart. And the Wizards have been built offensively for so long. Like if you look at our roster a few years ago when you're rocking guys like Kispert, Bertans, I guess even like Monte Morris was not a good defender. Just all these guys that just couldn't play defense, and you just threw them out there together. Like yeah, there's a reason why we haven't been a winning team in a long time. Even the Wall era, honestly, the downfall of the Wall era. If we were a more defensive oriented team, I think that would have helped a lot. But Scott Brooks is a very much an offensive coach. I mean, like Nene, Marcin Gortat back in the day, good enough defenders, but eventually the playoffs guys like LeBron and even Paul Georges of the world would cook us really bad. So I'm excited. This identity is different, and its identity I'm liking so far. It could still blow up in everyone's face, but at least for now,
For now, we will just appreciate it. I mean, you
I
never
appreciate it
know.
more. I appreciate it more than the Tommy Shepard era direction.
Goodness, Tommy Shepard.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I feel about Tommy Shepard. That's how I
That's
feel about
crazy.
Tommy Shepard.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it was nice hearing this sound effect on draft night. Hearing
Honestly,
it,
hearing it in person, it was like, whoa.
yeah. Once again, plugging the video, watch our watch party video. It was cool hearing it in the stadium, but also it was cool hearing it the Wiz for 3 times in one night for the Wizards because usually we just don't have that many picks. But so it was nice hearing the.
The Wizards
It's
select Alex Sarr, blah blah blah, and everyone went crazy.
yeah,
I haven't heard the stadium that loud ever.
sound. I've heard Celtics fans make it that loud.
Okay, but like Wizards fans, which it mainly was. I mean, there were like LeBron jerseys,
But
but
to be this is random. We were playing a game when we went to the arena the other day, and we're like, let's look at all the random jerseys people are wearing, and it's like sometimes there's just people that show up in like legitimately we saw like an Evan Mobley T-shirt, and I'm like, why'd you come to the Wizards draft party in an Evan Mobley shirt? Like at that point, just wear normal clothes. Don't wear your Cavs shirt. And then obviously there's a bunch of LeBron jerseys. That's normal.
it was a
A lot of
Luka
Denny.
jersey.
That's
Yeah,
normal.
a lot of Denny.
A lot of Denny jerseys, so I guess they all gotta buy new jerseys. I still gotta buy a new jersey. My most recent jersey is Bradley Beal, so I'm gonna be shopping around.
Happy birthday to him, by the way.
Yeah,
Pretty
so
sure that's
happy
today. Yeah.
yeah, so happy birthday to him. I don't know, content engagement. Drop in the comments below what jersey I should buy next year. Also, it's been quickly
Yeah,
talk about the
Bub.
new. I kind of really want
You
Bub.
love Bub. You've been talking about Bub.
I've been a Bub guy for months, so I feel like maybe I should get.
Exactly. I think it's just more realistic if you do.
I mean, Sarr as an obvious pick, but I think
Everyone's
hopefully,
gonna have Sar.
yeah, yeah, and I think Sarr will be around a few more years. I can get a Sarr jersey later. I might get a Bub jersey. Thinking about a Gill jersey, honestly,
Yeah,
but
I'll keep repping Corey till he leaves.
yeah. Also, speaking of jerseys, statement jerseys. Let's talk about that.
Oh,
Thumb up, thumb down. Like, okay, I remember. I remember. Do you remember? Oh yeah. Oh, it was, oh, you fixed your camera, kind of.
I
This whole
didn't
episode.
touch it.
Oh, well, okay, never mind. Your camera. Random side note. Raj's camera's been off this whole episode because it's broken, and it just bothered me. This kid, look at him. You can't see his neck. You can only see his like face. You can't even see his chin. He looks like he's just a floating head right now. That
Yeah,
bothers me. So for the sake of aesthetics, we turned off his camera. He did order a new camera. Shout out the camera you just bought like an hour ago.
Fraser Keo, whatever it
Yeah,
was.
so we'll do. Let us know next episode if the kid's camera's better. But yeah, back to the jerseys. Thumbs up. Yeah, it definitely. I
It
remember
grew on me. I saw it in person. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of clean.
I
And
didn't
then
like it.
and then seeing that other guy who was just standing there talking to him. Remember that guy?
That old guy.
Yeah, he
Oh,
said he liked him.
we had a random conversation with that old guy at the stadium, and he was like, "Oh, I like these jerseys," and I was like,
And he made me like them more. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're all right.
he said, "I like any jersey that doesn't say Wizards on it." I'm like, I
Dang,
gotta
that
see what
means
you mean.
I got to get a new statement jersey then.
That guy was definitely a Bullets fan. He still just hasn't gotten over the name change for the last 30 years.
Speaking about Bulls fan, Jordan Goodwin jersey.
We saw a Jordan Goodwin jersey. I think no, I saw we saw a Gill jersey too, which was surprising.
Okay, but Jordan Goodwin.
I mean,
Jeez.
you can tell that was like a $140 jersey. You can't just throw
Yeah,
that
it
away.
was like the retro jersey.
It was a custom Bullets jersey with Goodwin on the back. Unless the guy's name was Goodwin, it was a Jordan Goodwin jersey.
It was definitely good. Jordan Goodwin.
But yeah,
That was
same thing with me.
interesting.
Statement, yeah, but yeah, back to the jersey. The newest jerseys reminded me of when last year's City jerseys were revealed, and we're like, what the hell is this? But then we grew to kind of warm up to it. I don't know if it's like Stockholm syndrome, where it's like you just learn to like you're the person that like kidnaps you and tortures you. That's kind of what Stockholm syndrome is. I don't know if it was that.
It's a jersey, dog. You either like it or don't like it.
No, it's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, you can't look at it that way too.
I mean,
But
like,
I mean,
'cause,
I
like
like it represents the DC flag more. I mean, it pretty
it
much
has
is
the
the DC
flag.
flag. I don't
I
think
like,
do any of the jerseys. None of the jerseys have the DC flag on it except these statement ones.
yeah, I like the DC flag. The stars. If it didn't have the stars, it would suck. But the stars make it nice.
Yeah, I like the stars.
I'm a stripe guy too. Like I wear a lot of clothes with stripes. I like stripes, I guess. On a jersey, I had to think about it, but I think it also didn't help. They revealed the jerseys at 2 a.m. and they
Oh
forced
yeah,
everyone
why
to.
did they wait till 2 a.m.? It is.
They could have done it at 2 p.m.
I
But
thought it was a Corey extension, but no.
yeah, overall, like I'm gonna miss the old statement jerseys. I feel like the old statement jerseys should have been our main jerseys, if I'm being honest. But I'm fine with the new ones. After seeing them in person definitely helped a lot. I think same thing with the city jerseys, or maybe it is Stockholm syndrome. I don't know. I think every Wizards fan is a little bit. Look, think about it. The Wizards fans have been beating us. I mean, the Wizards themselves have been beating us mentally for years. We're their captive as their fans. They've kidnapped us, and we're just there. They punish us every day as fans of the team. So maybe it is Stockholm syndrome. But God, turn your camera back off if you're gonna stare at me like that.
That angle is so funny.
The angle and that facial expression. Your facial expressions are usually golden, but with this angle, they're even more golden. Oh God! See, you Spotify listeners are missing out on just his face. That's a reason to watch the YouTube feed. Raj's face. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good, nice little hour, like an hour of our time for the thoughts of the team's draft. Anything else to say about the draft or just anything?
Go Bubba.
Go Bub Carrington. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting a Bub jersey. I like him enough. Yeah, but overall, as we said, exciting times at DC. The off season is such a fun time for sickos, and it's a more fun off season than previous ones for Wizards fans, so can't complain there. And we'll definitely have a lot of free agency content. Free agency, summer league, um, any trades go down, any signings go down, we will be making emergency podcasts immediately. We'll try to drop those as soon as possible within a day. So yeah, just be look on the lookout. I guess as the more moves get made off season, there'll be so many episodes coming out. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to see where this team goes. Quickly also just once one more time plugging in the video we made vlogging the draft party. Check that out. Check out our TikTok and Insta as well. There's a lot of good clips of our podcast and also just Wizards highlights we make for fun and just random silly stuff. So yeah, check out the TikTok, and Instagram down below. Engage with that. Some fun stuff down there. Also, right now I don't have really any permit set up because I'm just in between living situations, but I don't know, maybe some like behind the scenes setup stuff you also see on Instagram in the future. So I don't know. I think we're worth a follow on all the platforms. And of course, follow us on the usual Spotify, Apple Music, and once again, we understand we're still a small podcast. We appreciate the small growth as always. We see the numbers improving with every episode. Really cool to see. So, as always, many hearts, many appreciations, much love to you all. But yeah, I think that's about all from me this episode. You think we're good to get into form? All right, everybody, keep on shooting those DC threes. Bub Carrington.